Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Circle of the Earth Fellowship. Hope y'all have been well. We've been doing well. We took last week off for Thanksgiving, so hopefully everyone enjoyed their time with their families. But we're getting back into it, and tonight we're going to be talking about satellites. Forever falling, apparently. I almost wanted to change it after I wrote it to forever failing. But I thought maybe people wouldn't get it. But anyways, welcome everybody to another episode. Like we always do, we're going to go ahead and say hello to those who joined us on the panel tonight. And then we will get into the topic after some brief housekeeping. So I hope you're excited. So without further ado, Marsha, welcome, sister. Good to see you.
Welcome, Vader. Thank you, Vader. Anyway, good to be here. Yep.
Awesome. I'm stoked for this topic because I feel like so many people kind of use satellites as a foolproof. Like, no, this is how we know. Oh, I just realized I have the wrong background on. But I have last week's on.
But, I do have a question on satellites.
Okay.
Satellite phone.
Well, go ahead. Talk. What's your thoughts?
I don't understand satellite phones. They have to go up on a mountain or get somewhere to get it so they can connect, right?
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yep.
You can't just use it like the cellular phone. You have to climb a mountain sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But they say I don't know.
And you think with satellites, right? Like you would have even less issues because that stuff's beaming straight down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. Go ahead.
For the show, but...
No, it's okay. All right, guys, I'm going to switch this off really quickly because I need to get rid of that and then I need to redo it because just bear with me. While I get this changed over, it'll take me just a moment. Oh, wrong button. Let's go here.
Oh, you stopped the stream. Oh, gosh. No.
I didn't stop it, but it didn't change it. Like, I literally saved it, and then when I added it back, it didn't change it for whatever reason. So, whatever. I got it fixed. Let's jump back over. So, well, welcome, sister, and where you have tons of videos and tons of stuff to share. Unfortunately, Kyle, Atheal Creations, will not be here today. They are, him and his wife are spending some time together in Colorado. And I'm not sure about Frankie B. Hope he is doing well. But doesn't look like he's going to be joining us tonight either. But we got more than enough videos to show that everything will be all good. I hope they're both having a great time. Let's jump over to you, Robert. Welcome, brother. How you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Another fun week at work. Putting out fires and keeping everything in line, and the cold.
Yeah.
I do not like the cold.
Yeah.
But we got to deal with it. So, I had a number of years back gonna have a direct TV.
Oh yeah.
Satellite. Do the satellite TV.
Right.
And they come out there with their little thing to look for the satellite, but there's all these trees over here, right? And it's like, well, we can't get a good look at it, but if we put a 50-foot pole on top of your house, we could put a dish up there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put a 50-foot pole with a dish on top of my house and my, leave it to Beaverland neighborhood, right? No. And like you said, all this open sky right over here, certainly there's a satellite.
Right.
And look, this one right here. Wait, this one right here. That one right there is right over my house.
Yeah.
Well, use that one.
Yeah, exactly.
And remember, I'm actually going to show this picture later, but remember, those are all falling around the Earth at 17,000 miles an hour.
Well, perpetually falling as they're also going around, so it's just a whole it's the opposite of the airplane having to keep putting the nose down, otherwise it goes to space. These guys have to keep on moving fast enough so that they keep up with the falling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's so much
It's
preposterousness of it.
science. It's called really special science.
I forgot about the satellite TV on the roof. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
That was
And interesting enough with the satellite TV, isn't it interesting that they always aim them the same direction? Like, why not north, south, east, west? What does it matter which way
all
you
over.
aim them? Isn't there enough satellites? It's like always at a certain, like depending on where you are, it's always at this certain angle to this certain position in the sky.
right.
And that's funny enough. So, well, sweet. Welcome, guys. This is definitely going to be fun. Let's go ahead and get up the housekeeping. We'll get that out of the way, and then we'll get into the topic of the tonight. So there we go. Perfect. All right. First and foremost, I'd like to, like I always do, shout out Chris and Liz Bailey over on Take on the World TV. They allow us to come onto their platform, share our puzzle, pieces of the puzzle with their community, and so we always like to show our gratitude. If you haven't checked them out, definitely do. They have tons of videos, 914, and so many different great teachers, so many different points of view. Definitely lots of puzzle pieces to find over there on Tick on the World TV. So check them out if you are not subscribed. And if you are over there and you've never heard of us, this is Circle of the Earth Fellowship. We also have our own channel. And so appreciate any support that you would bring our way. Things like subscriptions, likes, shares, all of that doesn't cost you a dime, just a click of the mouse. And so we do appreciate that. We went down 6, I'm not sure, subscribers. We went down 6, I'm not sure why. I think there's actually, and I might be a little conspiratorial here, but I almost think that there's a couple people that like subscribe to watch the number go up and then they unsubscribe. That could be totally wrong. It could totally be people accidentally subscribe and then they unsubscribe. It could be YouTube unsubscribing. I have no idea. But to the 1,237 people still here, thank you very much for your subscription and your and support. It does mean a lot. And then just a couple more things. We do have a merch store, so if you'd like to support us financially, this is a great way to do it. You get a nice piece of gear as well as you support the channel. And if you're topped off on shirts and hats and things like that, there is a tip menu. You can one time or monthly. Thank you, Marcia, for your $10 tip. It does mean a lot. And just helping me pay the bills. I spend about $120 a month on all the different programs and stuff that I need. So any type of support like that basically just keeps me less in the negative. But I do this for, to be a part of the community, to speak truth. And so it is my pleasure to spend that money to do this. So if you want to, cool. Don't, no worries. But anyways, okay, I don't need to show you all that stuff. Sweet. All right. Well, let's go ahead and drop that, and let's talk a little bit before we get into the sharing. So satellites, to me, I've personally ran into a lot of people where I'm like, well, what's even the point of space? Like, what does that do for us? And people will often bring up like, well, we wouldn't have satellites, we wouldn't have all this communication, and Robert shared, I believe it was Robert shared something where we're going to look at the actual best ways that they communicate and how that actually makes more sense than what they're claiming. Yeah, so let's we'll go kind of through each of us and kind of give our kind of thoughts about this topic. Kind of where you were, a few years ago before you realized where we lived, and then kind of your thoughts now. And anything in between. So let's start out with you, Marsha. What are your thoughts about satellites then and now?
Well, I thought satellites were satellites. I thought they were up there, and I would sit in a hot tub and actually, watch the Sputniks. We called them Sputniks if we'd spot them. Going and watching I thought NASA was real.
Yeah.
And then we got a satellite dish on this house. Sheesh. A smaller one though. They had You remember the big ones?
Oh, yeah.
Big, huge ones. Anyway, but we got the smaller one, and they had to point in a certain direction. I thought it was all cool.
Yeah.
Until I got woken, and then it's like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is, it's just radio waves. It's just waves.
Yeah. Waves that go through a medium, not the openness of space.
Yeah. And it's all fake.
Yeah,
it's all laundry. It's all brainwashing. It's all, yeah.
And to me, like, okay, I'll be the first to say that satellites aren't fake in the essence of, yes, there are mechanical devices that are up in the air that are sending signals and receiving signals and all that jazz. Nobody's disputing that. We're disputing the actual logistics of how they're working, where they're actually at. And and we obviously have lots of videos to kind of talk about that, and it's insane that how easily they can kind of bait and switch, right? Like they're like, oh, these are in space, even though it's illogical for so many reasons, and the cost of it alone is insane that they're doing these things. But yeah, we'll get more into that. Great thoughts there. What about you, Robert?
Oh, what Marsha said, ditto.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I go ahead.
I mean, yeah, no, that's basically it, man. It's like
we believed it
since the Russians put up Sputnik and all these other things. Watching these before I saw the enhanced video of the satellites being launched from the space shuttle. I saw the rather well animated selling point of the satellite being launched from the space shuttle, and the satellite being retrieved by the magnificent Canadian arm attached to the space shuttle to bring it in to do maintenance on it and put it back out there so it can continue doing its thing. Yeah,
we believed it all.
I was duped.
I was duped.
Yeah, there are lots of people they'll ask me about that. It's like, well, what about satellites? We got satellites up there. I know I forgot, but my friends got a satellite phone,
Right. You're muted.
It's just because, like, they say satellite phone, therefore it must be a object that's falling forever around the Earth. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like this false equivalency where, because it's called satellite, therefore it must mean that this thing is forever falling around the Earth, when it's like, no, that doesn't have to be the case. Just because they use the term satellite doesn't then it's circular reasoning. Well, like, we know they're satellites because they're called satellites and they do the thing, and so it's so preposterous. One other thing I want to say to something Marsha said is seeing the satellites, right? Which, if you logically think about it, it doesn't make any sense. And this is why. Have you ever tried to get, like, your phone or a mirror, and you get it in the sun, and then you use it and you can get it in someone's eye? You know what I mean?
Right.
So think about how kind of hard that is to not, it's not super hard, but okay, finally you get it in their eye. Okay, now the person's walking and you're trying to hold it in their eye. That gets pretty hard, right? Well, now imagine that the person is walking 17,000 miles an hour, right? How impossible it would be to keep that light on their eyes. And the reason why I bring that up is because, right, satellites, when we see them, they say that light that we that light that we see is actually the reflection off the metal into our eyes. And I'm like, wait, for that to be visible, because when you do that mirror thing, if it's not right on your eyes, you don't even see the light. It has to be like this perfect line in order for that to happen. So how something is falling around the Earth and keeping that perfect thing for all of us, because anyone can see that light. And so it's like somehow it's able to make multiple beams that hit multiple people's eyes all at the same time. Right. And people are like, oh no, those are just lights. Well, if they are as high as they are, I don't care what type of light it is, you're not seeing it from that distance at the size that it is. And we'll kind of look at we kind of looked at it earlier, but just imagine the size of a bus compared to a satellite, and then imagine a bus on the size comparison with like a 747, and then a 747 at 30,000 feet looks super small. So if you then extend it to where it's even miles higher than the airplane, and it's smaller than the airplane, how could you ever hope to see such a small thing from that perspective? It really makes no logical sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, and so people are like, oh, well, I've seen satellites. And it's like, okay, well, if they weren't satellites, what they are. And don't we always get that, where we always have to argue from the negative to prove something?
Yes. They looked at the NASA info thing to see where the ISS is, and they saw the ISS.
Yep, and that, boom, that proves that they launched
17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, and so it's impossible. And I feel like that might be. I actually talked to one of my coworkers about this, where I was saying they have to hit 17,000 miles an hour, 17,600 miles an hour within like around, let's just even say 100 miles. Even if you said 1,000, the distance in which it would have to accelerate, like the speed at which you would have to accelerate from 0 to 17,600 miles an hour with even in 100 miles, you would not be able to see it. If I show you a rocket going $6,000 on a rail and slow it down 4 times, you cannot see it. It's going too fast. So the fact that they're creating these things and saying these, mostly made out of like aluminum foil and gold foil, are somehow going, these astronomical speeds is insane. And so what's insane to me is they also have these contradictory views where they're like, well, why wouldn't it be damaged by the friction? Oh, there's no friction because the atmosphere is there. But wait, I thought that science just said that the Earth's atmosphere extends all the way past the moon. So wait, it would have friction. It would have issues. And they're like, oh, no, because it's in low Earth orbit. And I'm like, you can't eat your cake and have it too.
Right.
Can't have one without the other.
Yeah. So I think a good place to start is with the picture that you have up there. And bring that up for everyone. Pull this. Okay, so this is the photo that's on the back. Let me make this. Oops. Now, it does say, note, artist impression, size of debris exaggerated as compared to the Earth. So, okay, I get you there. You had to make all these objects bigger so that we could see them and they wouldn't just be little white dots on the picture. So, but if you look, we're talking about thousands and thousands, right? Now, this is just one side, right? This is just 50% of the Earth from their view. And so this is only half of them, right? The others are all on the other side.
Oh, my gosh. And they perfectly sync out and do
so that's my first question to y'all. Are these all these are all going parallel with each other?
Yeah.
Right? Because it seems like they're like this. And you have ones going west to east and east to west in all these different directions. Wouldn't they at some point smack into each other?
They all have these solar reflectors. They're solar
panels.
Solar energy with the reflection, so they all should be sparkling. We should see all kinds of sparkling out there.
Oh yeah, not once every blue moon do you see a light moving in the sky. It should be constant. And definitely if you have any night vision or any type of infrared where you can kind of cut through some of the distortion, you should be able to see lines upon lines of these quote unquote satellites that are zooming past. Now, one thing that I think is interesting is if we look at this, that's a lot of satellites, people. I'm going to jump back, and it says, so This is our update to the satellites currently orbiting the Earth as at the 31st of March 2020. According to the Index of Objects Launched into Outer Space, maintained by United States Office for Outer Space Affairs, USOA, whatever, there were 5,774 individual satellites in space at the end of the March this year, an increase of 15.78% compared to the start of 2019. This is a significant increase in 15 months. Okay, so back to that picture. So many. So this makes me wonder why not only are the satellites not seen from Earth, but why aren't they either seen from the ISS?
Oh, yeah.
Check this out. Oh. So this is a time lapse, apparently, of the being on the ISS. Isn't it interesting that that's just clear skies? No, nothing. You don't see a single anything. So what I'm guessing is the ISS is the engine, and all of them are just following around in a circle, like perfect synced right behind them. So that's why you don't see any of the satellites.
Well, that's why you have to time the launch window so precisely.
Oh, yes.
You have to kind of like fit right in there between satellite number 5,222 and 5,223.
No, and you're so right. Like, you would literally have to assume that they're all perfectly synchronized and they're all perfectly going either the same speed, or they're such synchronized that even though there's varying degrees of speed, that they never run into each other. They never crash. We never see satellites.
Wouldn't they all have to be the same weight in order to be at the same altitude, going the same speed, so they're all falling down towards Earth the same speed, so that, you know.
So that they stay within orbit and don't. Slower. Yeah, and they say that, right, that slowly over time they lose, and then eventually they come and crash down. Interestingly enough, the only time we've ever seen satellites are usually attached to balloons. But
typically they're able to control the fall, so they fall into the ocean.
Yeah, they never fall onto the land.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's because they burn up in the atmosphere, right? Like, even though they're created to withstand the harsh temperature changes of space, they're unable to deal with the lower temperatures of re-entering the orbit of re-entering the atmosphere.
Right. You know, going 17,000 miles an hour, hitting all those molecules, that atmosphere. Yeah, burn.
And we can look at hours and hours of this footage. Now, people, you know, who believe in the globe Earth will be like, see, this is proof right here that we have the ISS. And the ISS is its own other thing. We can show over and over them faking footage, graphical issues, people on wires, people grabbing in objects that appear out of nowhere. We have shown them back behind a blue screen. There's so much of that. We're not covering the ISS, which is, you know, the biggest satellite. But yeah, it's insane what people will.
What's wrong with the curvature there? It's like nice and smooth curve there. On the other side, not so much.
We're losing, Oh, that's because of the dark? Is that the dark over there? No,
that's... Oh, they're going into the dark.
Whatever.
Going into the dark.
Oh, and I saw this other video that people will be like, no, see, this is proof positive, because they have the exact weather patterns at that time when they're flying over it, and we compare them, and they're the same. It's like, where do you think they're getting that information from? It's like they're getting that from NOAA, which then is a part of, you know, it is a part and parcel with NASA. And so the fact that they could get the correct information to make this illusion more believable no truther is saying that's impossible.
Is this video here, this from the magical gondola that has the blinds on the outside with the levers on the inside?
Yeah.
And you don't lose any gas, no gas pressure?
Yeah, let's bring that up. We've shown that before, but I feel like that's a really good, that's with Smarter Every Day. So give me a second. I got to switch over to my account, so bear with me.
Smarter Every Day.
Yeah, it's the name of the... Okay, Smarter Every Day. ISS Gondola. I think I spelled that right.
Looks like it's automatically loading as you...
Oh my gosh, I just saw this. Did anyone else see this?
All right, so I am a PhD.
Okay, look at this. Is this a joke?
Oh my gosh.
Look at this. Is this a joke? Does anyone else see what I see? And I was just skimming through it. That's not even what I wanted to see, but I saw that. But oh my god. Okay, let me see. I want to see. Okay, maybe ISS. Let me just search that and see if we can get the Don Pettit video. Oh, here it is. Okay, let's listen to him right here.
Okay, there it is. Yes.
Operate a lid on the outside of the...
Off the top of my head, but there's probably a plan.
Watch your head. All right. Or something.
Yeah, seals are O-ring type seals.
Sure they have a plan.
Yeah, but how maintain a pressure server or something?
Yeah, it's from...
Sorry,
we call it a shutter, and it protects the window.
Okay, so real quick, the thing that guy's touching is not a mock-up, but like an additional of what we're looking at through here. This is the gondola that he's talking about that is supposedly in outer space right now, always battling the pressure, the negative pressure, the 10 to the negative 17 torr of pressure. But yeah, let's see.
Windows for micrometeorites.
Okay.
Shutters are closed. The windows are protected. And also...
Real quick, how do they know when micrometeorites are coming where they need to shut the windows? It's so dumb.
Thermally insulates the windows from the radiation environment of space.
So can you shut these things from the outside?
No. You can open and close it from the inside.
Oh, okay, wait. On the inside, you're throwing a lever or something.
Yeah, you're turning a knob.
And it's
opens. Yeah.
On the outside.
On the outside.
How do you do that and maintain a pressure seal between them?
O-ring type seals.
No, you don't.
With a rotating check. All our hatch seals are O-ring type seals.
Yeah, but how... my brain's...
up here. Let's go inside. We can see it.
Okay.
Watch your head. All right. Oh. Oops, thunk. So you have a whole series of O-rings in here. And a shaft that you rotate.
So, I mean, like on the space station, how many of these would you have?
7, because we have 7 windows.
What happens if you get a leak on that?
Then you have a leak.
You just have a leak.
And what you would do is...
You lose air.
Yeah, you would probably seal the whole cupola off. And then there's probably a plan, I don't know off the top of my head, but there's probably a plan for replacing the mechanism. Might require a spacewalk.
So my question is, how can you operate a lid on the outside of the space station by manipulating something mechanical on the inside of the space station without losing air pressure?
It's called real good engineering.
Okay, you heard Don Pettit. He said that it takes a really good engineer to design this sort of thing. I'm told the guy quit working on the space program and now owns his own motorcycle parts business.
I wonder why. I wonder why he had to change careers. Maybe because he said, well, then you have a leak. Well, what do you do about that? There's probably something you got to do about it. You have a physics engineer, which is Destin from Smarter Every Day, literally saying, no, you don't. That's not how it works. You would lose air pressure. And of course, we got Dom Pettit, who... no offense, but I think he rode the short bus when he went to school. And that's one. Like, I'm gonna go off on a tangent real quick. don't y'all all remember that like astronauts were like the best of the best, the strongest, the smartest, those things? And then we have guys like Don Pettit who can't really come up with a logical sentence if his life depended on. And apparently he was in the gondola taking all of these miraculous pictures from this cupola. I said gondola earlier, but cupola. So preposterous. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of skip through this, and we have all these. All of these things you could get images of without needing to do what they supposedly say they're doing. This is, if y'all think this is real, like by all means believe it, but yeah. I want to say something real quick about this part right here. Right here. So see how it's going around, the stars are moving upwards? Right? They're going past and around. And I have talked to this with coworkers at work as well, is in the winter at night, we should see completely different stars than at summer at night, because we should be facing the complete 180 degree opposite part of the universe. Funny enough how we can see the same stars throughout the whole year. So that's just illogical anyways. But yeah, so yeah, apparently we have all these satellites, and they're such good engineers and such precise math that they can all fall around at different speeds, at different altitudes, at different weights, and different constructions, and it all works perfectly. And if they do crash, they either burn up in the satellite conveniently, or they all fall into the ocean conveniently, though the satellites or satellite-looking devices that people have found just so happen to always be attached to balloons. Please ignore that, though. So I want to show a couple pictures of just satellites in general. So they have all of these things, and people see like, oh, look at these pictures. This must mean that satellites are real, right? Because why would they spend all this money to develop these things? Now, again, we're saying, yeah, satellites, quote unquote, satellites are real. They are just not orbiting and falling forever. What they actually are doing is they're suspended by balloons, and they're either being carried around by the jet stream, or they are being carried around by motorized units, like I think that the Starlink is. I think these are multiple units attached together. Some of them have motors, some of them have communication on them. And yeah, so but if we just look, okay, so look at how many pictures of real satellites there are, guys. Don't y'all see all these? Tons of them, right? Tons and tons of pictures of all these satellites. I could just keep clicking and clicking, but wait, let's look at satellite pictures of space. Huh, okay, that one's CGI. Surely there's a real one. Nope, CGI. Oh, again, CGI. Oh, more CGI. Oh, look, more CGI. Why is there no pictures of a satellite in space that's real? Oh, that's real. Look, see, that's real. There's no way that they could possibly fake that. Not real. Not real. Not real. And obviously, I could just keep going on and showing that all the pictures they have of satellites are all CGI renders.
Yep.
Don't they have cameras on these things? Couldn't they just buy like a $200 GoPro and just strap it on? Oh, I guess it wouldn't survive the harshnesses of space. And I guess they can't make a camera that can take a picture of outer space unless you happen to be in low Earth orbit and you block out all the windows and make the appearance of the Earth. But yeah, it's interesting how many pictures they have of satellites, but they have none of real satellites. It's all CGI. Yep. And this is what we were talking about earlier. Is this really what's going on? Oh, how do these never collide and smack into each other? Wouldn't that be insane to spend millions and billions of dollars to send up this super complex device for it only to smash into another object?
Another one. Yep.
How can they possibly take something like this with all of the complexities and the sheer amount of these satellites and somehow synchronize all their orbits that they're not just all smashing into each other all the time. It's so preposterous. All right. It's so insane. So, all right, let's watch. Okay, we're gonna start over here, and look at this. So this is Amir's resurrection, and this is on Vincent Fusco Q.
Good evening, everyone.
Let's check it out.
I just wanted to do a really quick video on satellites. I have a lot of friends, a lot of people who believe that these actual satellites are floating around in space, floating around the Earth, orbiting the Earth. And of course, we all know what goes up must come down. But what most people don't know is there really truly are satellites, but they're carried by balloons. And if you do see a satellite in the sky, it's because it's being carried by a balloon. It's not a satellite that's just orbiting around the Earth by its own free will or remote control. That's a bunch of bull crap. Now, NASA even admits that themselves. Now, check this out.
What about satellites? Did you know that NASA has hundreds of these satellite balloons up in the air right now? I never knew these NASA satellites existed before Flat Earth. Have you seen them? Google and many other companies have fleets of these balloons as well. Look up Project Loon. The fact that NASA and its subsidiaries hardly discuss these so-called satellites was a huge proof for me because it evinces a deliberate effort to conceal the fact that space satellites don't exist. The whitewash of these balloon satellites is evidence that they are lying about space satellites. These high-altitude balloons can carry 8,000 pounds and include telescopes, radar equipment, communications equipment, internet, etc. Here's one that almost killed some people.
Some of NASA's latest space dreams came crashing down in Central Australia today. A giant helium balloon packed with expensive scientific instruments lost its moorings in high winds. As Anna Henderson reports, it cut a swathe through an airfield and sent onlookers running for their lives.
As the giant helium balloon was launched into the air, its precious cargo became a high-speed projectile. Unexpected strong winds pushed the 2-ton platform of scientific instruments off course and onto a path of destruction. Justin Trotter's car was tipped over. He can be seen here running for his life.
They started losing control of the payload. We started to move the cars and just barely made it out without getting smashed.
The couple sitting inside their vehicle right next to his car can barely believe they survived.
There was just lots of noise and we really thought we were gone.
It was just an instance of chaos outside. We were expecting to be wiped out.
While Justin Trotter was inspecting the damage, NASA scientists were picking up the pieces of years of work. It's not clear whether anything can be salvaged.
Everybody is feeling very down about it. A quick look showed that there were bits that were in pretty good shape. But to be able to expect that to be put together within a month for another launch seems unlikely.
The Glad-wrap thin giant balloon came down in a nearby field and will be thrown away. The balloons are launched into the stratosphere carrying cutting-edge telescopes that help give astronomers and scientists a much clearer view of space. Organisers say they are relieved no one was hurt.
We're very particular at the balloon launching station not to see this as a service.
You're muted.
Why
view of space, huh?
Yeah, why would you need to put satellites in the atmosphere to look through the atmosphere when you could just put them up in space and then you have nothing blocking your view?
Right.
So silly. So silly. All right, let's keep it chugging.
And invite people to come and watch the launches simply because of the risk factor.
One balloon was successfully launched earlier this month, and NASA is adamant it will have another ready for takeoff.
I bet they literally did this to be like, oh, we need to keep people far away from these things because they might hurt people.
Too much risk.
Yeah.
shortly, but after today's events, spectators will be told to stay away. Anna Henderson, ABC News.
Yeah, a bit of sci-fi hitting home for a Michigan couple when a satellite crash landed in their backyard, and their reaction?
It's the car I
Priceless.
recognize.
Never know what's going to happen. This baby fell out of the sky and landed in our yard.
Nancy and Dan Welke, cool as cucumbers, discovering a satellite that had crash landed on their property, still blinking and still attached to a parachute.
A parachute.
A parachute?
A parachute.
Yeah, not a balloon.
Not a balloon. Yeah.
Why would it be attached to a balloon? Like, if it was in space, isn't that... didn't we just talk about, like, one of the reasons why we never see them crash is because they would burn up in the atmosphere? But yet, somehow, this little thing was able to... Even the plastic and all was able to get back through the atmosphere and then deploy a balloon to fall in their yard. Makes total sense. I also have some... oceanfront property in Arizona. If you buy that, guys, I'll throw in a Golden Gate for free. Man, balloons seem way cheaper than the rockets.
All you gotta do is do a little bit of research. These satellites come crashing down all the time in different countries. Here's another one in Brazil. Check it out.
Yeah, I remember.
How did all that aluminum and plastic and paper, how did that survive the re-entry into Earth's atmosphere? I don't understand.
These are lower level. They can make.
Oh, okay.
Grande essa porra, viu? Eu sou um que tá mandando.
Wait, those. I mean, that's what our money goes to, right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, $68 billion a day.
Yeah, yep. And we got those. They look rinky-dink. I'm sure they're not, but it looks. I don't know.
You have like a square object falling through. Like, how does this re-enter the Earth's atmosphere? Hint, everybody, it doesn't.
Oh.
Alguém tem uma faca aí na cinta? Até falar esse bicho pra lá. Vamos porque ele tá lá. Quero só a cor.
I can see them blinking up in the sky at night. Yeah, you can see it blinking up in the sky at night. You just can't see the balloon it's tied to because the sky is dark. But check this out right here. When you catch one passing in front of the moon and you zoom in on it with a P900, you can see the balloon that's carrying it because the moon spotlights its silhouette perfect.
Oh, wow.
Home, E.T.
That's aliens.
They don't sell the P900s or thousands anymore, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, they stopped selling them?
I think.
Right. They, who got it? Who got a hold of them?
Who got a hold of
them? Somebody like that?
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, here you go, guys. Oh, wait, no, that's actually a satellite. Even though it's traveling 17,000 miles an hour, it just appears like it's not.
Floats.
Oh, that's because of the distance of away from you, objects that are going fast appear that like they're going slow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Now, once it passes the light of the moon, like I said, you cannot see the balloon anymore due to the darkness of the sky. Now, if you'll go and Google how many satellites are orbiting Earth, it's going to tell you 10,019 active satellites.
So what was it, 5,000 something?
Yeah, so within 2 years, they doubled the number. 100% increase in satellites. Have y'all seen records of that many rocket launches? I don't remember 5,000 rocket launches happening between 2022 and now. Oh my God.
It's in orbit in 2024. And here are the images that they give you of all these satellites that are supposedly orbiting the Earth. But yet, when we watch your bullcrap NASA spacewalks, we never see not one single satellite orbiting the so-called globe Earth from these spacewalks.
Shouldn't there be literally tens of thousands of satellites going every which way?
Hundreds at least.
Oh, it's just that the ISS is so high that you wouldn't be able to see them, even though you can see them from all the way down there on Earth. So the ISS, which is closer to them, you can't see them, but on Earth, you can see them. Makes total logical sense.
Of course.
Check it out yourself. Look, where's all those thousands of satellites that are supposed to be up here orbiting? I don't see not a single one.
Not one. Ugh.
And we have the same thing on the high altitude balloon launches. Take a look here. Where's all these 5,000 something satellites that are supposedly orbiting the Earth? They're not there because there is none. The only satellites are on balloons. Now we know why we don't see the satellites in the NASA footage, because it's all CGI. But the high altitude balloon projects, these are real. This is the real footage. And zero satellites. You're being lied to, people.
And zero curvature. Oh no, but you could see curvature from the airplane.
It's time to wake up. Everyone, thanks for watching, and have a good night.
Oops, did not mean to click that. No one cares about Joe Biden. Alright, let's check out another video. Oh, is this the same one? I think I may have done.
Bro, that's a bunch of bull crap. See a satellite?
Oh, no, okay. This is it's still Flat Out Truth, but it's a different satellite video, so check out Flat Out Truth.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to do a really quick video on satellites. I have a lot of friends, a lot of people who believe that these actual satellites are floating around in space, floating around the Earth, or it's being carried by a balloon. It's not a satellite that's just orbiting around the Earth by its own free will or remote control. That's a bunch of bull crap. Now, NASA even admits that themselves. Now, check this out.
About satellites. Did you know that NASA has hundreds of these?
Allowing it to maintain its aerodynamic. Dumbass videos, explaining to you guys what Don Pettit, NASA astronaut and PhD, who talks about the tyranny of the rocket equation. I put this out, and he explains, I don't explain it to you, but he explains how it is dumb mass, meaning extra weight, material, and scientific instruments, literally affects the entire performance of a particular rocket based on the amount of fuel it needs to have on board to do what it needs to do. But there's no way, I don't give a shit what type of physics science that they're engaging in mathematics. There's no way they're sending something up in the sky on a rocket that weighs over a ton and allowing it to maintain its aerodynamic stability and remain control and stay in control, where that rocket is not spinning out of control and basically exploding in the sky. So based on that hypothesis, I'm going to reveal this document to you guys to show you there ain't nothing in the fucking nose cones in those rockets. The entire satellite program worldwide, okay, worldwide is a balloon program. And it's been in existence longer than fucking rockets, period. And I'm gonna show that to you. So, first document we're gonna read. Here's the document. Just like I said, the title of it is telling in of itself. Space and Missile.
Yeah, this guy uses weak words. Sorry about that, everyone. I get his anger in it, but I try to shy away from him. But this video is still very informative. So please excuse the language.
Systems Center. Okay, space and missile systems. Now, the term space. What does that mean? They have a general international presumption of where space begins. The U.S. Department of Defense classifies and categorizes space to begin at 80 kilometers. That's about 262,000 plus feet above the center surface of the Earth. That means the flat plane surface that we live on. You launch a rocket, boom, 262,000 plus feet above the surface of the Earth. That's U.S. DoD standard. So, according to the DoD, they got aircraft that could fly close to that, maybe half the distance. But the international standard is called what they call the Kármán line. Theodor von Kármán developed, him and a bunch of physicists and scientists from all over the world, including scientists from the United States, established in the 1940s that space actually begins at 100 kilometers. For those in the United States, that converts to 328,082 feet above the surface of the Earth, okay? That is where actual space begins. Now, what is space? We can have several definitions of what space is. We don't fucking know. They're still studying it as we speak. So space, definitely, that at that altitude, even at DoD standard, we got a serious lack of oxygen and all of the components and pressure and environments that are consistent on the surface plane of the Earth. Okay? So in space, you have limited to almost zero aerodynamic control, astronomic control. You need some sort of vehicle that has to travel at ultra high speeds, well beyond the speed of sound, which is 760 miles per hour. Okay? It has to be traveling at high speed, for it to maintain any sort of aerodynamic stability and function and control at those altitudes. So, Space and Missile Systems Center. This is an interview with Lieutenant Colonel Harold E. Mitchell for the Corona program. Now, let me dive about the Corona program. The Corona program, okay? The Corona program is still a top secret program. It was a
YouTube, we're not talking about your beer bug.
Program launched by the National Reconnaissance Office in conjunction with the CIA. It's equipped with some very advanced optical equipment and photographic equipment to conduct mapping and reconnaissance intelligence gathering capabilities, okay? So I have that document pulled up here for you guys that we're gonna reference. We're gonna need that program. So this is a letter actually drafted August 21st, 1964 regarding a Corona mission. Now I need you to understand this. There were several Corona missions. So this is the importance behind proving that this satellite was never launched on a rocket. They had several missions. This satellite was put up on a gondola balloon. It did its thing for however many days or months, and then it was captured by a C-119 multi-engine turboprop U.S. Air Force cargo plane, specially outfitted to capture this thing to capture it using some sort of tail hook type of device, okay? So I'm not gonna read this entire document, but there's specific sections of this document we're going to address so I can prove to you guys that satellites are not floating around above 100, maybe 200,000 feet. They are literally 10 to maybe 50,000 feet above the altitude where U2 optimal flight range is. So, and I'll show that to you as well. The technical specs for U2, they can go beyond 70,000 feet, okay? Beyond 70,000 feet. That's not their max operating altitude. They can go beyond that, okay? Now, the reason why I chose this document is for one simple reason. Although this activity occurred between 1954 and 1956, and Corona program is 1958 to 1962, the subject time frame involves about 20 years, 23 years. But look at the date of the interview, people. The date of the interview was October 1st of 2003. Now, what significance does that play? One, to me, it's fairly recent. Even though this is 2016, that's 13 years, okay? This document was recently declassified as an interview, but it's also interesting to note that it was conducted by the Space and Missile Systems Center. So Robert McCulley was of the History Office at the Space and Missile Centers at Los Angeles Air Force Base. So this guy's going to interview Lieutenant Colonel Harold E. Mitchell of Missouri over the telephone about his experiences recovering Corona satellites. All right, I'm going to skip forward because he just talks about the guy's history, where he got his training, how long he's been doing his training. You know, this is just basically, introductory type of, okay, this is who this guy is. I need to know who he is. Now let's get to the meat of what it is he was doing and what his role was in this program. So they talk about what his rank was. This guy was a captain. He was in charge in 1954. He was part of the Dragnet program, also known as the Genetrix program or Weapons System. 119L came along. They were flying out of Charleston, South Carolina. That's where they were doing a lot of their training. They were flying a C-119. You saw a brief picture of what that looks like. It says, how did you conduct your training? They talk about how they were conducting their training. Again, a lot of this information, it's not insignificant, but it just adds to the narrative of, is he talking to the right guy? All right? All right. So here's some of the beginning meat of this interview. McCauley asked Captain Mitchell, did you ever recover the Dragnet training capsules at night? Mitchell says, it's impossible to recover at night. The only time we flew at night was during our instrument training. We didn't fly our emergency training at night either. We did all of our training instrument flying 16 hours a day. We did that because time was of the essence. And if we didn't fly night missions, we'd never get all the training done to get people ready to go into the practice sessions, okay?
Real quick before we go on, they said it's impossible to do it at night. Okay, now that was back in 2003. Maybe they've changed, but isn't it interesting? It's like, well, hopefully our satellites only fall during the day or we're screwed. And the point of this entire operation is pointless because we can only do it during the day. It's like, oh my God. All right, let's keep going.
So let's go ahead in. Now, here's where he describes what the Dragnet gondola looked like. What did a Dragnet gondola look like? Well, we used similar parachutes except the Corona program or Discoverer program only used one chute, okay? We used 4 28-foot parachutes for a Dragnet gondola, and they did all of the chute modification at the parachute shop. They would attach 4 parachutes and these were not reinforced parachutes. They were just to lower the load, the gondola. You'd attach them to the gondola, and then from the middle of this, on a longer tether, you would have a smaller chute that we call the drogue chute. I think the drogue chute was 100 feet above the 4 descent chutes, and the drogue chute was reinforced. We could make our passes on that drogue chute. When they say they can make their passes on that drogue chute, you're looking at a 100-foot tether, and what would happen is that the drogue chute would deploy. You got a 100-foot tether, the plane didn't need to come within a dangerous distance of the chute as the satellite was falling from the sky, and they'd have a hook at the back of the aircraft that would fly by and hook this chute. And once they hooked it, they start reeling it into the back of the aircraft. Here's some important data. The top of the gondola had a compartment for the chutes and all that stuff. And a lot of it had to be the parachutes, but the whole capsule was 1,450 pounds when it was airlifted, okay? The capsule they're talking about is literally the satellite. The gondola had, now I want you to pay attention to this. He says, this is Mitchell, Captain Mitchell talking. Captain Mitchell says the gondola had a huge balloon. I mean a huge balloon. You could see it.
Sounds like Trump, like, we had a huge balloon, the hugest, the most biggest.
At 60,000 to 85,000 feet. Now, this supports what I've been telling all of you, that NASA has had a balloon program literally for decades, over as long as they've been in existence. Some of these balloons are the size of a football field. When you look at the size of a football field, 100 yards long, 50 yards wide, just imagine what that looks like up in the sky. Think about what a balloon that size could lift off the ground, okay? Now, Macaulay says, did you ever see a Genetrix balloon get inflated and then lift off? Did you see that process? Mitchell says once, but I didn't see the beginning of it. I saw it when it was about 3/4 filled and then the liftoff. Now, this was only in the training phase of our operation in the summer of 1955, and that was done in Denver, Colorado at Lowry Air Force Base. The one that I watched launch, they had to put the capsule on a forklift, and I imagine this was done before the balloon was attached and inflated. At any rate, they started their inflation, and then as the balloon got full enough to support itself and go airborne, they'd run down a taxiway with the forklift, carrying the gondola until the balloon had enough lift to get the gondola airborne. I want to show all of you what that actually looks like in real time. Now, when I say real time, okay, when I say real time, I'm talking to you, this is a launch that had already occurred in Antarctica. This is a launch that already occurred in Antarctica, and I'm going to show it to you. And here we go. I just read this to you. This balloon launch took place in Antarctica, and it's an 8,000 fucking pound telescope satellite.
Weak words.
There goes the mountains in the background. Here's a visual description of what I just read in that document. Down a taxiway and getting in the loft and launching it. Watch what happens. If you like apples, how you like them fucking apples? That's 8,000 fucking pounds, people.
Weak words.
1,000 pounds. That dome on the top is actually where all of the radio equipment is installed so that a C-130 can communicate with it. It sends off a signal so that when these aircraft are in the air, they can detect the signal while it's up at 85,000 feet, 100,000 feet. Today's balloons get to about 130, 150, 180,000 feet, okay? And at nighttime, when the helium air is cooled down, the balloon drops in altitude about 10,000 feet, maybe 5,000 feet. And then when the sun shines back up on it again,
look at this. I just read this question. Do you know how long the balloon floated over the U.S. before they were usually recovered? guys, the balloons didn't just go up and float in the sky. They traveled around. That's the point of a reconnaissance. It's not just to put a balloon right above your own country and just keep it there. These balloons aren't just floating statically in one place. It's so preposterous. But great video, minus the weak language. This one is Mackenzie 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 on D Live. Go check that out if you're interested. But we got more to share. What were you gonna say, Marcia?
You said D Live, but it was BitChute.
Oh, BitChute. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's check this out. This is says the truth about satellites. I finally have a good cell phone with a good zoom.
¿Y ahora qué? ¿Eh? Mira. ¿Y ahora qué? ¿Cómo te queda? ¿Ah? Mira, mira. ¿Y ahora qué? ¿Eh? Mira.
Looks like exactly what we think here, what we've been saying.
Wow.
Let's check this one out.
I'm from outer space. I got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins.
I'm gonna have to mute this because of the song.
Yep.
There we see it in front of the moon.
Oh my gosh. It's
like, look at all this technology that they've come up with specifically to launch these balloons. The special, like, whole setup they had for the, dropping it off, the way that they set up the balloon and how it goes up with the cords. Like, a lot of money has been spent here.
Yep. Oh.
Space satellite. Coffee cup caustic. Oh, how dare you. But your maths. But see, yeah, there's a lot of imagery in there that itself disproves their whole silly notion. All right, Satelloons indeed.
One comes crashing down on your squad. Many crashed satellites have been reported the world over, and the one thing they all have in common is giant helium balloons attached to them. Of course, satellite technology is real. We get our weather information, communication equipment, and even some internet service from them. Look up Google Loon, for example.
Okay, let's look up Google Loon.
Yeah.
Google Loon. Loon, LLC. Was an Alphabet Inc. subsidiary working on providing internet access to rural and remote areas. The company used high-altitude balloons in the stratosphere. Again, if all you have to do is launch it into the stratosphere on a balloon, what's the point of rockets? What's the point of spending all of this money to put this small payload in space if all you have to do is attach it to a really big balloon? Weird. So let's keep going with the video, though.
Satellites, if they could, it's that they don't physically exist, nor does the globe. They have been sending these up one at a time since it all began. I will allow them to explain it.
And he got a patent on that in 1950. And those early balloons were so large, they didn't have any way to launch them, except they actually launched them from aircraft carriers.
Modern scientific ballooning was born. It was also the genesis for NASA's newly developed super pressure balloon.
The reason for super pressure ballooning is they have absolutely stable altitude, day, night, and it doesn't matter how cold the atmosphere is. They are sealed.
So your shape is always the same, you always displace the same amount of air, and therefore you have the same amount of buoyancy all the time.
This day-to-night altitude stability allows superpressure balloons and the sun.
Hi, I'm Matt, and this is NASA Now.
NASA's been using balloons for science research for over 30 years. The exploration that can be done on balloons is continuing to grow. The standard balloon that I fly is about 660 feet long when it's made.
Oh my land.
So when it's inflated, it's over 400 feet tall by 440 feet wide. Think of a dome stadium. That's how big my balloons are.
So let me get this.
I wonder why they don't. That's a pretty big surface area, right?
Yeah.
Why don't they like put Coca-Cola on there? Why don't they put all these advertisements, right? Like, what a great time to make some extra funds supporting these science endeavors. Probably because they don't want people to know that they exist.
Right.
Why does it keep muting? It's so dumb.
Lights on massive helium-filled balloons. As you should know, NASA is the largest consumer of helium in the world, for obvious reasons. But the issue with society is that they never critically think. Just think for a second here. If these are sent up to provide the world with all of the important information we need, and I'm sure the entire process is expensive and difficult to accomplish, then please explain to me what in the flat world do these pathetic animations do for you? Do they make you happy inside? Are they so super duper cool that you cannot see past the obvious CGI? The fact of the matter is everything NASA sends up on a balloon simply hovers above our motionless Earth. That is why they rarely speak about orbiting satellites, and of course, they never show footage. Here is some footage of a random evening with a man, the moon, and his Nikon P900. Notice anything floating up there?
Forget it, Bart. It's so bright out you can't see anything in the sky except the Fox satellite.
Another remarkable fact about NASA's balloon launches is that many are launched from Antarctica. Is it because we cannot travel past certain parallels to witness their launches with our own eyes?
It's just because that you didn't see that one in Australia where it almost killed a whole bunch of people. So yeah, they do it in Antarctica where you're safe.
It sure has been a while since the last guy.
Greetings to you, my young friend.
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. Strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation, those to come after us, or even during your lifetime. Because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources.
Yeah, so of course Admiral Byrd, there is stuff to be desired, but he at least says, to me, at least seemingly says some true things. All right, we got one more over on this side. Let's check this out.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks to stronger amplification of television signals by today's satellites, consumers can now receive broadcasts directly on 18-inch wide dishes. As improvements continue, these satellite receivers may become an integral part of most households, providing 400 channels of incoming television and data, as well as 1 channel of outgoing video. Communication satellites have transformed our world into a global village in less than 4 decades. Today we can pick up the phone and instantly talk to someone else almost anywhere.
I think is a good part to talk about. Yeah, we're not saying they don't provide any communication at all. And interestingly enough, I think that the number is about 80% of communication is done via underwater cables. And recently in the news, I saw that they had people who, like some state espionage, that were trying to get into these and kind of hack into them, cut open them, and start stealing some of the data that's coming through. And and so why have all of these underwater cables if all we need is satellites? Doesn't satellites make way more sense if we can get that information anywhere, and we don't have to lay these insane amount of cables and all the equipment necessary to do that? It's so ridiculous.
Where on the planet, or turn on our televisions and watch foreign and domestic events unfold before our eyes. International faxing, high-speed modems, and email using phone lines and satellites also allow businesses, researchers, and ordinary people to transmit data around the globe in a matter of seconds.
Real-time worldwide communications was something that didn't exist before the 1960s and the communication satellite revolution. That has changed our whole way of life. Our whole society, our economy is built upon those capabilities.
Yeah, then why do they need all of these cables? And if it's like, I don't remember well, let's go look at the number real quick. How fast do satellites orbit the Earth? 17,000 miles per hour. So what do they have, like, speaking back to direct satellite TV, what do they just have, a constant stream? Because 17,000 miles an hour and it's pointed in one direction. Why don't they have a satellite that moves and just like follows the satellite? Why is it just in a static location? If these things are traveling 17,000 miles an hour around the Earth, like he's saying, you'd constantly be losing reception. You'd get it, you get it, you lose it, you lose it, you get it, you lose it, back and forth. It's so preposterous. But let's keep chugging. Sweet spot snipers. Oh, geostationary. Oh, so that's why it's not actually, it's perfectly spinning. Wait, I thought they travel at 17,000 miles an hour. In order for it to be a geostationary orbit, it would have to be literally just traveling 1,000 miles an hour, 36 at the equator. Pretty interesting. Just works so perfectly. Isn't that funny though? Like they're making such a good point here, because we're traveling around the sun. The sun is traveling through the galaxy, yet somehow, even though we're the Earth is traveling at 6,000 or 66,600 miles an hour, the satellites only need to travel at 17,000 miles an hour to stay with the Earth, but not with the rest of the solar system. I think that math checks out. Okay, so let's pause. It says temperature increase in altitude due to the absorption of high energetic solar radiation. Temperatures are highly dependent on solar activity and can rise to 2,000 degrees Celsius, 3,630 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, what does metal melt to? So you mean to tell me that the melting point of all these metals is lower than the highest temperature? No, nothing to see here. Oh, that's real. I love the music they selected, like how epic this is. Look at this CGI.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was a great video. Love the humor. All right, we got a handful more left, so let's keep chugging.
Supposedly spacewalks from the ISS, and I want you to notice in the background of all these supposed spacewalk videos, where's all those 8,316 satellites in low Earth orbit with it at? You don't see them anywhere. Let's just have a look at some of these real quick. Now, if these spacewalks were real, you'd be looking at, what, almost 1/3 of the supposed spinning ball Earth right now. But you don't see no satellites in this low Earth orbit with this supposed ISS. Oh, let me guess. They're all on the other side of the ball right now, right? You can keep watching and keep watching, but you're never going to find one in any of these NASA videos. And I'm just showing you a few. You could go on their website and look at all of them. Look at this right here. Where's all those satellites at? Notice no satellites, not a one floating around anywhere. But there's supposed to be 8,316 of them supposedly right here in this low Earth orbit with this ISS. But not a one, nowhere in sight. Now let's go to Google Earth, satellites in real time. And as you'll see here, they're telling us there's 13,000 satellites up here in real time, even giving you the names of them. Look at that. 13,000 satellites with all their names. Now check this out. Now if you go to NASA's supposed ISS 4K live stream, as you can see here, guess what?
None.
No satellites. Let me know when you spot one. You won't. You know why? Because this is CGI and there are no satellites in space. None. Nada. Zero.
Zero. Oh god, that was so good, so true, so laughable. Great video there, flat out truth. Oh gosh, that was good. All right, we got a few more. Let's keep chugging. Can I make it big? Oh no, sorry, I don't know what I just did. All right, let's refresh this so I can get that back. All right. Sorry if it's really loud.
It's all animation and games until one comes crashing down on your squad.
Oh, I wish it was bigger. Just showing how it's obviously doctored footage. Wanted to see what that said. Illusion. It's just an illusion. Oh, so preposterous. And so this we're gonna check out. So what's the point of satellites when you can just do when you can just lay cables?
Yeah.
Oh, this needs no sound. That's right. So yeah, look at the thousands, like so much money has been put into these underwater cables. It's like nonstop. Says, is this a live stream about satellite orbits? Will you go over some of the satellites in high eccentric orbits like Molotov orbits? Will you go over some of the satellites in highly eccentric orbits like Monia orbits? I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. But why do you need satellites when you have all these cables? Why do you need all the satellites when you have balloons that do the exact same thing and cost significantly less? I don't know. Yeah, look at all these. They spent millions and billions of dollars to run these cables.
That connects everything.
Yeah. Why would you, like the cables, they're not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about meteorites destroying them. You don't have to worry about their orbits colliding with each other. You don't have to worry about them blowing up or being destroyed when they're re-entering the atmosphere. None of that. So why? All right. I always love this badge of honor here. This is from Dave Weiss from the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. But here, let's check this out.
Inside the massive hangars at Moffett Federal Airfield, Google is attempting to do something that balloon experts deemed impossible: deliver high-speed internet access to the most remote corners of the globe.
This is something that has never been asked of balloons before, to be reliable.
So the first thing we did was took a router, flew it on a weather balloon up to 10 kilometers and see if you could still get a signal. We are just like a cell phone tower, but in the sky. Another way to think about it is if you drive down the highway on a phone call, you will switch between cell towers. And as one balloon goes overhead, another balloon comes in range, and you're switching between one balloon to another. The balloons today can cover 5,000 square kilometers on the ground. You can get 15 megabits per second to your phone. Or if you have a little MiFi device, you can get 40 megabits per second from the balloon.
I remember when we were building balloons and they would go up and pop and come back down. We do a lot of different tests with balloons built in different ways. They might be a different shape, they might have an extra feature, we might change the dimension of a feature and try and figure out what works and what doesn't.
Our longest lasting balloon was up for 173 days until we brought it down. Now we've gotten to the point where most of the balloons will last over 100 days.
This balloon has a constant volume, and there is helium in it. We haven't.
I have a question for you, Astro Kate. How is radio waves traveling through the emptiness of space? I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
There's no, like, we know that radio waves, work in the air because there's a medium for it to travel through. What are the radio waves traveling through in space? Interesting.
Another balloon inside the balloon that we fill with air.
Yes. That's what happens.
And the balloon is going to go down.
It's easy to steer the balloon.
You go up, use this wind, then go down, use this wind, and go up.
Over the last 6 months, Google has run tests with Vodafone, Telstra, and Telefonica.
It's too expensive to build wires and cell towers and fiber optics out to all these remote rural regions. It's still early stages in our project in terms of figuring out how big it can grow. It's great for bringing internet to 4 billion people on Earth who don't have it.
Meanwhile, in 1962.
An inflatable plastic balloon satellite, 100 feet in diameter, tall as a 10-story building, inside a 26.5-inch magnesium container. The latter is mounted in the nose of a 3-stage, 92-foot Thor Delta rocket. Highlighting one of the nation's proudest days in space, the satellite will serve as a reflector for radio waves that bounce back to Earth, paving the way for a new kind of worldwide communications. The rocket at Cape Canaveral carries the balloon and 30 pounds of powder, which will turn to gas and inflate it at a height above 1,000 miles. At 5:40 a.m., the launching. Self-propagating
electromagnetic waves. Waves is not an object, it is a motion. A wave requires a medium to wave through.
Then the tense moments while the rocket goes through the separation of the stages. It is only the second launching for the Thor Delta. It is living up to the expectations of the space experts who say it functions almost perfectly. With extremely precise guidance, it is placing the balloon satellite almost exactly into the desired 1,000-mile-high circular orbit.
You know it's real when they're when the footage is this pristine.
Yeah.
33 minutes after launching. 33 minutes after launching, the balloon is released and inflated by the powder inside, which turns from a solid into gas under the sun's temperature. The big balloon, visible like a bright star, quickly bounces a recorded message by President Eisenhower between stations in California and New Jersey. And here in Washington, the chief executive listens to his own voice as it sounded when bounced from the orbiting satellite.
It is a great personal satisfaction to participate in this first experiment in communication involving the use of the satellite balloon. This is one more significant step in the United States program of space research and exploration.
Oh, God.
Between pine-covered hills near Palestine is one of the best-kept secrets in East Texas. The Columbia Scientific Balloon Facility is a renowned balloon launch site involved in world-class scientific research.
The data that we get, the scientists...
What's insane is they literally call these satellites, and then when we say, look, satellites are just on balloons, they're like, no, that's not what a satellite is. A satellite is orbiting in space. It's like, okay, well, why are their own people calling it satellites then? Please explain.
Yeah.
So preposterous.
...get, rather, is used all around the globe. We get... the scientists get, rather, is used all around the globe.
The National Scientific Balloon Facility was moved to Palestine in 1963. It has recently been renamed the Columbia Scientific Balloon Facility in honor of the Columbia crew and is under the sponsorship of NASA.
When I first came to work here, it was we were launching a lot of small balloons, 11 million cubic foot balloons and 4 million cubic foot balloons. But as time progressed, we got to launching the bigger, heavier balloons that lift 8,000 pounds.
For balloon launches throughout the world.
Whoever said, Astro Kate, that satellites don't exist? We never said that. We have said over and over and over that they are on balloons. Why spend billions, millions of dollars to put it up on a rocket when you can just put it up on a balloon like we've been doing this whole stream? Now, you may be in the wrong saloon, but just because you worked on satellites, were you on it when it was launched? Or are you just assuming because they said it was going to space that it was going to space? I'm just saying, like, believe what you want, kind sir or lady.
World, including Antarctica. A number of the facility's balloons are launched each year from that icy land with its 15 plus to 20 below temperatures. The balloons, made of material as thin as trash bags but bigger than football fields, are inflated with helium and launched on journeys to the edge of space.
Surely this cost process is way lower than sending a rocket that's a one-time use thing. Yeah, like all the metal, all the stuff that just gets like all the gold, all the wiring, all of that's just thrown away. Or you can just get this balloon that's made out of plastic and bring it up into the air. What is the better solution?
The data gathering and scientific experiments they carry out can be accomplished at a fraction of the cost of rockets.
A lot of people think that what we do has to do with forecasting the weather.
Weather forecasting, it's not. Although weather monitoring for launches is part of the job. But what about sorting out the Big Bang Theory, detecting cosmic rays, measuring ozone layers, and hundreds of other scientific experiments that most of us don't understand? But what is accomplished by the Columbia Scientific Balloon Facility may well affect our lives and those of our children as long as this planet spins.
Oh boy. Yep. Are you talking, Vader? Because you're muted.
I said, look at all those satellites. There's just so many you can barely even see the ground. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, no way that any of these pictures are CGI, right? This is all 100% real. You know that it's real because it looks so fake.
Right.
They have better CGI than this, so of course. All right, let's play this one. How are none of these smashing into each other? How are none of these, like, that's insane to think that people have done the math to be able to figure out all of these paths that none of them would, like, imagine if you spent $50 million to send up a satellite and then it gets in its orbit and smashes and it's all in parts. It's literally so silly.
And
so
what
silly.
happens when one smashes another? Or does it send out pieces to all the others that knocks them off? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't gone back to the moon. I mean, imagine you get all that work, all those astronauts on there, you take off, you're almost in the atmosphere, and
Boom.
bam, you smack into one of them satellites.
Yep.
That, oh gosh, we've been thinking it was because
Tom Hanks, you gotta go back.
God, you just made it make so much sense. For so long, we have thought that they didn't go to the moon because they can't. The reality is they didn't think about it, and they sent up so many satellites that we're waiting till the next president for that perfect hole in the satellites to appear that we could just perfectly glide out without one of them touching the rocket. Makes total sense.
It does.
Okay, we'll end with this, but let's play a little bit of this. We're not going to play the whole thing. Definitely check out West Blaze Music and oops, and Uncommon Ground. I did not mean to click that button. There we go. Okay, I'm going to pause this and go up a little bit. I'm clicking on the wrong screen.
Where's the satellite one? That's oh, okay, you're going to come ground some. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll play because that other one's the first one is music, right? That other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll play that
Some
last.
people are just as much as they believe everything they've read in textbooks or have been told through video, cartoons, and media since they were a child. They don't like. There's all these supplemental ideas that go into the overall narrative of you live on a planet, a rock in space, amongst other vast voids of space and sun, burning gases of suns and things like that. So that whole narrative, there's other little supplementary details that are built into that narrative. Like with any lie, you've got to lie more to make it stay believable, right? One lie leads to 1,000 lies. That's always the way it goes. And there is those 1,000 lies of supplementary information that has been pushed into this heliocentric evolutionary model that is completely 100% contradictory to what the scriptures define. So Wes and I just feel always burdened.
Not only what scripture defines, but what logically makes sense. Like logically, these things don't make sense. But they just say, well, it works. So who are you? Where's your doctorate? Where are you? Are you a rocket scientist? Right? They always want to then break it down to, I know more than you. I've done this. Like we had Astro Kate earlier. Well, I used to build a satellite. So what? So the fact that you're saying they don't exist is silly, even though we never made that statement. It's so preposterous.
But to make sure to help the viewer have the scriptures before we get into the science, observation, and research. So that's kind of our passion. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, you're muted, Vader.
Great video. Go check it out over at West Blaze Music. Tyler threw a link there. Appreciate it, sir. But we're going to finish it up with this song, Saddaloon. Again, by West Blaze Music, feature Christopher McCracken featuring West Blaze Music. And we'll play this. We'll say our goodbyes, and we'll call it a stream. But check it out.
Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Way up high in your big balloon. Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Way up high in your big, big, big. Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Way up high in your big balloon. Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Where did you saddle? Jet streams to control the weather. We don't fly through a space. Never ending, never nice try. You know I'm not blind. Yeah. Hard facts, always hard to swallow. You won't die. Contacts, never leave or follow. I asked why. Why don't you care about the thing? I never pin you eyes, want to accept the lie. Gravity's just a dream, a globe is paradise to see. The earth is just not spinning. We can see the sun and moon, how they align. Perfect symmetry, a flight of paradise to see. The stars are all that's spinning. Yes, satellites are fake. 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 Yes, satellites are
With my
fake.
pen up in position as I contemplate the proper stanza, I pray Hosanna, the Father give me the proper grammar. The population indoctrinated, it's off the handle. Politician puppets paid to propagate the propaganda. It's complicated, they obfuscated the truth, and they dominated and confiscated the proof, and they carbonated and formulated, and poof, it's a worldwide world lie catered to the youth, but we blindly all believed in that big bang boom. Ooh, and we odd that we evolved from baboons, caught up by the claims of killer clowns with balloons, with audacity to actually say they went to the moon. So me and my platoon all immune to the foolery, too many consumed by the doctrine of delusory, doomed by the dupery. By the time they hit puberty, I tell them about the kingdom though at every opportunity.
Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Way up high in your big balloon. Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Way up high in your big, big, big. Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Way up high in your big balloon. Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Where did you? Saddaloon, 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 where did you go? Way up high in your big balloon.
Saddaloon, Saddaloon.
Where did you go? Way up high in your big, big, big Saddaloon.
Saddaloon.
Where did you go? Way up
Featuring Vader Bear.
Saddaloon, Saddaloon, where did you go? Way up high in your big, big, big balloon. Where did you go?
Yep.
Saturns. Mhm.
Great song there, Christopher and West Blaze. Hopefully y'all don't get mad that we're sharing it. But yeah, and it's one of those things, right, where it's like the preponderance of evidence. We've talked about many different things when it comes to the globe Earth and the the fallacies that are attached to it. And here is another one. Why do they have to do balloons? Why do they have to do all these other things if satellites just work? But we watched that video earlier and it literally said what goes up must come down, unless you're a satellite, and then you can just fall forever falling. It's just forever falling, and they never have to update it. They never have to do anything. It just works perfectly. And how many, I've seen how many movies where it shows a satellite being able to zoom down into someone's bag or to see their license plate, or they say, oh, what about that satellite from the 1970s? We could use that to stop this, global, threat that's happening. And so we've seen it over and over and over and through the entertainment. Yet when we bring up the discrepancies, of course, we're just crazy, right? Because we believe satellites are fake as described. And no, we know satelloons exist because they show us launching them over and over and over. You can see all the technology and research and development that they've put throughout the years to get to the point to where they are now, where up to 2020 they had 5,000, but then in 4 years they were able to double that number into it. So please explain to me why we don't see 5,000 rocket launches, but we have videos over and over of satelloons being launched. Please tell me why we have thousands of images of the satelloons, the satellites being produced. We see the actual physical object, tons of those, but when it comes to seeing those same objects within space, within orbit, nope, sorry, you can't have those because they don't have the sophistication to put a camera on them. Like, come on, So again, it's just so preposterous of what they're asking us to believe. And now that we've woken up and we want to spread that, you get people like Astro Kate coming here and saying, "Well, I built them, so I know that they therefore must be in space." And so, hopefully, we showed y'all more examples of how indeed these things are not what they say they are. And just one more piece of the puzzle of the lies that we have been told. So, yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up the stream, and we'll say our goodbyes, and we'll get out of here. I'll throw it to you first, Marcia. Final thoughts and goodbyes.
I do have a question. Okay, I'm going to be stupid here. You're going to, is my little satellite up there, 20 some odd years ago, I put that, and they had to beam it over to that direction. What is it capturing? I mean, you did have to use the satellite, and you had to
aim
it in this direction. Aim it.
There's a transmitter out there.
There is a transmitter out there?
But I would say that it's actually on the ground.
Yeah, if you even look at the degree tilt that they do it, it's not enough. Like, they could easily, if it's not already a ground-based satellite, right, that can put out that, it's at least that they have like a stationary balloon that they have one satellite hitting it and then coming down. That would be my best guess.
Yeah, because they'd aim it, and that was good. That right there. So, I don't know.
Even though that same satellite supposedly is traveling 17,000 miles an hour, how are they keeping it? Like I said, they should have a satellite that moves, right? That like moves as it goes. Yeah.
So anyway, interesting show. Satelloons, not satellites. Not space satellites.
Absolutely. No space. No space needed. Sweet. Well, thank you for being here, sister. As always, always a pleasure to have you. I do want to mention really quick, without getting in too much detail, all of those, please have prayers for Marcia. She got some bad-ish news, as much as you can trust the news givers. But have Marcia in your prayers that her health would only be good and not bad. So thank you for being here, sister. Love you much. We'll jump over to Robert.
Hello.
Final thoughts, brother, and your goodbyes.
I was going to say Roger, Robert.
Roger.
Yeah.
I'll send you,
Roger.
I'll send, Christina Shrubbery. So yeah, the company I work for, they make lots and lots of money fueling up these rockets. So
Oh yeah.
and I was thinking about the so what the Earth is now, it's oblate, pear shaped.
Yeah, oblate spheroid.
So the satellites that go around this way, don't they have to now not do a perfect circle? They have to now kind of go in
They have to do an oval.
some type of an oval. And then you take that whole animation that I'm sure everyone saw that animation of the sun curling through space, the Earth and all the planets spinning around that, the moon spinning around the Earth, spinning around that. Now we got all of these spinning around, and it all just works.
It just works.
Or we have a bunch of dangling satellites on balloons floating around. Every once in a while, you got one from China floating across the U.S. that we have to
shoot down
with our fancy F-25, 35 billion-dollar jets.
Oh.
After it crosses the U.S.
But we don't have any problem that they cross the U.S. as long as they're in space. If they're in the space, it's okay. They can travel around us. But if they're down in the atmosphere, nope, you can't be here.
And that
This
even
wasn't
they can.
such a joke. I mean, I don't know.
It really is. It really is. Yet the satellite can get that car plate. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Like, oh my gosh, it's almost out of a science fiction book.
Just a regular car we put up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, love you guys. Love everybody. Thank you for either watching live or watching after the fact. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all were able to laugh along with us. This is a very laughable topic. Definitely if you take it serious as if satellites via space are real. So, yeah, guys, it was awesome. See y'all guys next week for another stream. The schedule will be coming out pretty soon, probably tomorrow. So look out for that on the community page. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. And until next time, guys, remember that ABBA loved you first. Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Where did you go? Saddaloon, Saddaloon. Good night, everyone.
It's your glory, conceal the mystery. You give us the honor to search a matter. You raise up a standard.